What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the stream. So today has been quite a bloody day for Bitcoin. We went from like 52K all the way down to 42K on some exchanges, touched the $43,000 to $42,000 level. A pretty scary event for some people, although for people like me, I have a lot of experience in this market. I could sleep through these types of moves. Not a huge deal for me, though the question is this a lower high? Are we going to have a continued downtrend? Or are we going to, recover from this and break out once again? So we're going to be answering all those questions here in this stream, so definitely stay tuned. I'm going to let people join in on this stream, play some music, and then we'll be back in just a few minutes. If you're watching this as a playback, you can skip ahead until when I come back. All right, I'll see you guys in just a couple minutes. We're going to get this stream started in just a minute. Be sure to hit that like button. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the stream. So we got a bloody day across the markets. Bitcoin down almost 10%, Ethereum down almost 13%, and we have one of the only coins that's up today is Solana, up 7% as it stands right now. Solana, the best performing coin recently, so that's awesome to see, but everything else not so awesome to see. Cardano is down over 15%. XRP is down almost 20% or more. So today has been a pretty rough day, though to be honest, guys, I could sleep through these kinds of moves. It was really like Bitcoin's still trading at 46K, 47K. I mean, it could be worse, right? It could be worse. And we actually tested 42,000, which is interesting. Let's go to the main scene. So obviously a red day across the board. Hop over to the Bitcoin chart. Very interesting to see that we got a wick straight off of 43,000. 42 to 43,000. Some exchanges 42. And Coinbase, I believe, is 43. And so this is obviously pretty clearly a previous resistance from January, from earlier this year. We bounced off 40 here in May. And then end of June, we bounced off about 41. And then we got rejected off of 42,000 over here. What month was that? That was July going into, or June going into, July going into August. So obviously this is a range that, for a while we were pumping up, if you guys remember on this channel, we were breaking out. And as we were trading up here at like 48 in August, and like up here, I was saying, maybe we get a pullback to 42, and then as we continued up, I thought, it's becoming less likely now. Maybe we're just going to keep moving up. And this move here was a bit of a surprise. I mean, it's a pretty big candle for me. It surprised me a little bit, though. It could be worse, guys, right? And we're actually trading above the 200-day moving average. This green 200-day moving average. So we would definitely want to close this daily candle above this green 200-day. If we close below that, psychologically, speculators would be probably a little bit less confident. If we close below, if we close above, it looks a little bit better. But again, we just retested 43,000, which was almost like a retest of all this resistance, this previous resistance here, which is actually nice that we confirmed that at least. Though you never know, there could be more waves of fear. So when the market has major pumps or major dumps, what follows is usually waves of emotion. So there'll be like a secondary wave of fear or something like that. Usually when you get a dump like this, you don't just go right back up. We might see the market rebound and then another wave of fear and another move down before getting the support needed to maybe trade sideways and then recover. Usually there's a couple waves of emotional feedback, right? So maybe we'll see some sort of bounce up and then a pullback again, a little bit of sideways. If we remain bullish, we're gonna want to remain above the $40,000 area, right? I mean, we could bounce up, come back down, test into 40 again, but we definitely want to be holding that, guys. We don't want to be falling below it. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of chop up and down, sideways, up, down, all around. Get everyone's head spinning a little bit. That's pretty classic Bitcoin behavior there, right? Guys, we have almost 300 people, almost 400 people watching now. Definitely smash the like button if you're just tuning in. Smash up that like button, guys. Subscribe to this channel if you're new. I haven't looked at chat yet. Haven't missed any super chats. Oh, we just got another one from Rationally29. Thanks for always being here at the streams. You're always here. Another $5 tip says, Kev, walk us through this dark day. I mean, guys, it could be worse. I've lived through much worse than this. We're trading at 46,500. Pretty good in comparison to where we were just a month or two ago. Not all too bad. So again, like I was saying before, a little bit of chop up, back down into 40, sideways. Like that's kind of what I would expect from my experience, right? It is a total guess. I'm just speculating here. But from my experience, that's the kind of stuff I would expect is, if we are going to continue this macro bull market. So, a lot of times, the average person, when they see stuff like this happen, all of a sudden their view on the market just flips on a dime and they get scared or something. And it's like, there's a difference between successful and non-successful investors and traders. And that is that people that can stick to a plan or stick to, basically their plan, in the midst of this type of environment. You don't want to be like flimsy with what you're doing in the market because you're just going to screw up that way. You just got to stick to your plan. But yeah, again, the green 200-day, we want to close above that for this daily. Also, interestingly enough, let's go to the weekly chart so we can take a look. We bounced directly off of what? the 21-week EMA. So in this perspective, guys, you guys know that historically the 21-week EMA is a very significant moving average, the blue line. In previous bull markets, it acted as a very, we literally bounced directly off of it multiple times. We use it as resistance in the bear market to a certain degree. And being above it is a bullish sign. Being below it is, you know, not necessarily a bearish. I mean, it's bearish if you're below it, but it was also just an accumulation thing here. I know a lot of people out there, when we got below this blue 21 week EMA, they said it was bearish. But, you know, yeah, I guess being below it is bearish, but it was an accumulation zone. You guys know on this channel, we called the bottom. We actually called it the day of the test of 30, right? So the long-term low held. Everything below the 21-week EMA was an accumulation zone. Now we broke out above it, and what did we just do? We actually came back and retested it as support. So we came above it, and now potentially we're going to hold it as support. I mean, that would be really bullish, guys. If we held the 21-week EMA like this, I mean, that's just like, you know, a confirmation of a continued bull market. And that's what we want. That's what we want to see. If we come back down and we come back to retest this 21-week EMA and we break below it, guys, if we break below the blue 21-week EMA and then we break below 40K, that would be indicative of a continued bearish trend and a potential descending triangle, kind of like, you know, the previous bear markets. So we want to hold the 21-week EMA, which we just bounced off of, and we want to hold the previous $40,000 to $42,000 zone. If we can do that, guys, I think we have a shot at actually continuing this trend upwards and onwards, and, you know, maybe looking for a breakout towards the all-time high before the end of the year. We could be going sideways for a couple months now. What are we in right now? September, guys. We're already in September. So maybe for the rest of September, expect sideways. Going into October, maybe look for a breakout mid-October, something along those lines. Again, this is a really rough speculative estimate, but that's kind of what I'd be looking for if the bullish trend is going to continue. We have a tip from Thaddeus with a 5. Says, Kevin, this is exactly as you predicted. Consider joining the Patreon if you haven't. Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate you promoting my Patreon for me. But, yeah, is it exactly as I predicted? I mean, not really. It wasn't exactly as I predicted. As much as I want to sit here and just say, yes, I was perfect, I was not perfect. I was looking for a retrace back to 40K, like somewhere over here, right? But we ended up breaking out, and I thought, maybe we're going to go higher. And then today we just, you know, wicked down. So it wasn't exactly as I predicted. Caught me off guard a little bit. But guys, you know, the real key here is that we're holding the 21-week EMA and the $40,000 region. That's it. That's really what you want to do. If we get sideways action up here, I mean, that's very bullish. Right? And we're also coming off of a multi-week major pump. And I mean, we were pumping like crazy. So guys, we have 500 people watching. Smash the like button. And also be sure to hit the bell button so you guys are notified when I do go live, right? Now that things are heating up, we got a lot more action in the market. I'll be going live more. And you won't know if I go live if the bell button isn't selected. So definitely select all notifications for that. And, you know, another argument for this potentially, again, that blue 21-week EMA, another argument that this will potentially continue in a longer-term bull market is the Bitcoin illiquid supply shock that's taking place, or the Bitcoin illiquid supply shock ratio chart. And this is showing the RSI. And this is a really interesting chart. Here, let me see. Let me move myself away to this side. And check this out. Actually, I should probably zoom in. Actually, I'm just going to remove myself completely. There we go. I'm going to zoom in. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. Yeah. So back here in 2017, when we had this RSI right here for the liquid supply shock come up to the top range, that was pretty much like right after the beginning of the run. We were actually mid-run, and then we had a major pump. See, right after that took place. And going over here, when the RSI hits this top line, this top region, we're like at the bottom. And a major pump follows. Over here, this is recent. This is 2020. RSI comes up to the top range. Right at the beginning of the run, major pump follows, right? And now, what's happening here? Same thing. RSI is at the top zone. I mean, check it out. We're now sitting at a point that's very similar to all the previous pre-pump. It's sort of like a fractal almost on that indicator. And I think that this does have a shot at continuing. Even if Bitcoin does come down a little bit, I mean, I think it'll probably continue, right? Things take time, of course, but we're setting up for a prolonged period, I think, of upside. This little dump that we just experienced doesn't really, change my perspective at all. And I would expect a prolonged period just like that. So I'm not really all too worried. The supply, the main factor here in this bull cycle is the supply shock. And in the last bull cycle, 2017, it was Tether. Tether was like a big reason why we were pumping so much. And now it's supply shock and institutional involvement and governments literally making Bitcoin legal tender in their countries. Yeah, so I mean, I don't... The worst case scenario is just very sideways action, in my opinion. The worst case scenario would be Bitcoin just kind of like doing this for a long time, in my opinion. That's just my opinion, though. But yeah, supply shock sitting at a pre-pump point is basically what it's showing me. We got 660 people watching. Definitely smash the like button, subscribe. I hope you guys are having a good day despite the dump. So let's see here. Like I said, the Bears deployed a tactical nuke earlier today. So what else do we got? Oh yeah, the liquidations. This is a big reason why this dump... Actually, let's just zoom in. Let's go a little bit closer into the chart. Let's go to the hourly. Whoops, gonna zoom over here. It was just a few hours. It was just a few hours of very quick dumping. Let's go to the volume. We're currently on Coinbase. I like analyzing Coinbase volume. Yeah, I mean, some whales kind of just stepped in rapidly. It's always hard to predict those kinds of moves, but quickly, lots of demand very quickly at that 42K. I mean, this was very unexpected, but there are a lot of people even still waiting for 42,000 to show up to buy in, and that didn't last very long at all, right? Not long at all. But again, like I was saying earlier, we'll probably see some sort of a little bit of volatility, maybe a bounce up and a move down. Right, like this is kind of what I'm looking for in the short term. Just a lot of sideways. Consider the truth says, how does this volume compare to other dumps? That's a good question. Let's check it out. Let's go. Well, when we say other dumps, do you mean recent dumps? I mean, it's far greater here than anything very recent. Though it's also not really, we do have a slight breakout, I guess. There's a slight breakout in volume if we're looking at our volume declining trend. Sort of a slight breakout, but not by much. Right, we have that like volume trend, declining trend. We are breaking out of it though, so that's interesting to see. But again, like I said, some emotional feedback, another wave of fear is likely. And if we do come back down to the low 40s, I'm going to be a buyer. I wasn't prepared. I don't want to buy right here. I wasn't really prepared for that wick down earlier. If we do come back down to the low 40s, I'm going to be buying even more. Tobias Lofton, what's up, man? I appreciate you tipping. Hold on, I missed a couple. I think I missed a few tips Tobias, glad to see you. Glad to have you back. F. Olson says, hey, Kevin, keep up the good work. Really like your videos. All the best from Sweden. F. Olson, I appreciate you. I appreciate that tip. Thank you very much. The people that tip without demanding anything from me are always the best. Jesus says XRP TA. I mean, we can look at it at some point. Oh yeah, XRP is down 20%. That's probably why people are asking about it. Just looking at chat real quick. I missed chat. I missed a lot of chat. Sorry guys, I've pretty much missed everything you guys have said unless you tipped. Vikron S coming with 5. Do you expect this bull run to extend into mid or late 2022? Probably not late 2022. I think probably the longest would be mid 2022. That'd probably be like the longest. Like another 6 months from here, it's possible. Yeah, the liquidations, guys, today. So again, the reason why we had such a fast dump was cascading liquidations. That number right there says 3 billion. Let's zoom in. This is these are 12-hour periods, 12-hour candles. Check this out. This is the previous 12-hour session. At the bottom, $3.17 billion in longs liquidated. That's a big one. It's a big oof. That one hurts. That hurts, guys. Even though I don't trade leverage, but it hurts for the the over-leveraged bulls. You know, these moves for me don't really mean all that much because I don't trade leverage. I think leverage is useful in some cases, but I really almost never use it. So these types of swings, you know, I could sleep through them. Doesn't mean anything to me. All good. All good. I'm not the ones getting liquidated. Though if you're trading leverage, good luck to you. This channel is also not really a channel for leverage traders. I'm not going to give you knowledge for that. There are other channels that do that. The Unspoken Truth says leverage trading is killing Bitcoin. No, not necessarily, guys. I mean, the rapid growth you get is from the over-leveraged market, right? When you see Bitcoin make these insane runs, I mean, there's a lot of leverage involved in these huge bull runs, right? And that's the interesting thing. When, you know, the reason why Bitcoin is able to make these huge runs is because it also has a savage bear market. And I mean, it's just as bad to the downside. So even if Bitcoin does go up to 120, 180, 250,000, it might come back to 50,000 in the bear market. Right? It might come back to right where we are now. And if you don't sell, you make no gains. Right? That's why, you know. Brian is saying, look at the 3 peaks in the dumped house pattern. It's playing out in the daily. I mean, it's actually getting there, guys. We were the first YouTube channel, if you look at the history on YouTube, to discuss this pattern. After I started talking about it, everyone started talking about, well, not everyone. There were a bunch of channels that started taking the idea of 3 peaks in a domed house. And it's actually starting to happen, right? We have the 3 peaks. And if we do run up to the previous high and get a consolidation, I don't know why my mouse is doing this. 3 peaks, my mouse is drawing for me. And if we do get a recovery, consolidate at 60K, then the final run would be up to the roof, right? I didn't really draw that perfectly, but I mean, it is still in play. If we end up getting sideways action, then it's not really in play. Conservative Joe says leverage is fine, but you have to keep a small position. Well, you can also use leverage to decrease your risk. If you have $10,000, you could take $1,000 and put it on 10x, and then you're trading with $10,000 without risking $10,000. Right? So you can do it like that too. So also, What else did we have here? Oh yeah, this one. This is what I talked about the other day, and this is pretty important. That every time we get above, this is a long-term channel, and a lot of my followers already heard me talk about this the other day, but this is important for those that haven't. For the 700 people that are now watching, definitely smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, hit the bell icon. This upward sloping channel, the long-term channel, which starts from 2013, right? We have major macro resistance on that area, on this midline, the heart line of the channel. Then it acts as short-term or temporary support before it could continue bear market. And again, above the midline is profit-taking zone. Same thing here. Once you get above that midline, it acts as temporary support in the bear market, but above that is a profit zone. You should be taking profits at least. Another resistance on the heart line, 2019. And once again, resistance here at 65. Now, if we start punching up, that is your signal for profit taking, right? If we start going like this, above that heart line is a profit taking zone. And I haven't seen any other channel discussing this macro upward sloping channel midline in the way that we have. And it's very important, guys. Above that midline, profit zone. Right? And that's basically coming in at like 100K. So once you get above 100K, that is a euphoria zone. A euphoria peak is likely being created once we get above 100K. So keep that in mind. Keep this chart in mind as well. And if we bounce off that or I guess if, later on, this is very long-term thinking, but if we come back down and bounce off that midline, once we get below it, that is basically like the confirmation of a continued bear market once you get below that midline. It's always good to have some very long-term thoughts like this, right? So you're not blindly just going through your investing career, trading career. Check to mute your camera mic. Oh no, it's just the timing of the scene switch. Just the timing of the scene switch, I think. Yeah, sorry guys, I don't know if there might be an echo or something. Miro H says you are all the time bull, man. Well, I mean that's kind of what I've done in my career is I stick to a direction for a very long period of time. I don't really do short-term trading. So like this, hold on. My channel first became known because I stayed bearish from here. It was like January 15th or something, all the way until the bottom, right? So every time we bounce, people say, man, Kev, you're always bearish. Why are you always bearish? But the point was to stay bearish for the remainder of the bear market, right? And that's kind of what I'm doing now as well. I want to stay bullish for the remainder of the bull market. Of course, nothing's guaranteed, but that's just my opinion, right? So I don't care about if we go from here down to 40K again. I'm not going to become bearish for that move. It's insignificant to me. I just want to catch the meat of this move. That's all I care about. It's a very low stress approach to the market. Because days like today don't matter to me. They don't matter. I could care less. I really could care less about what happened today. And that's the difference between, that's what happens. That's what happens when you get enough experience, guys. You just don't really care too much about these days. It's just another Tuesday, right? It's just another Tuesday. Yeah, and that's another thing. A lot of people are comparing. Okay, here's the also. Yesterday was definitely threw me off because, for one, this is just a quick mention. We had a bullish cross taking place on the daily MACD, and we also started to break out above the RSI. We had a breakout in the RSI happening, a bullish cross in the daily MACD, a breakout in price, and then all of that just reverses today because I guess a whale decides to dump. I thought that was kind of funny though. All the bullish signals were lining up, and then it was like, nope, not happening. But what I was going to say was a lot of people are comparing this to 2017 or 2018. And here are my Bitcoin targets. But the difference though is that in 2018 we didn't really spend much time at that first low point. It was literally less than a week and we bounced. There was no time for accumulation here. There was no time for accumulation down there. If you think about that, right? So we come down, we touch off this and just rip straight up. And then there was multiple weeks for distribution. Come down, like a week down at the bottom, bounce up, a lot of time for distribution. The difference here is that there was a lot of time for accumulation. So we come down and we stay down here. So there was a lot of time for accumulation. In 2018, there wasn't. We kind of just bounced. We just boop, bounce, bounce. Here, we actually stayed at that low point, which is that actually gives me confidence. It makes it a stronger support. There was a lot of time for accumulation, right? And now I think we're probably going to end up continuing up. You know, it may not be this fast. Maybe we go sideways a little bit longer before going up. But yeah, these are also my Bitcoin profit targets, which if you guys are in the Patreon, you should have seen this already if you're paying attention. We're looking at these targets for selling. Yeah, again, you know, who knows? Maybe we go sideways for longer or something. But even though, you know, people look at charts like this and they laugh and they scoff and they're like, oh my God, you're just a moon boy. Yeah, I mean, you know, people said that to me as well, you know, here. Nobody thought we were going to go to 65 that fast. And if we ever get a breakout again, we'll go from 65 to 100K faster than you can even blink, honestly. That's just usually how this goes. Golden pocket resistance. Someone says, yeah, I guess that's true. That is true. We came right up to the 618 resistance line. Yeah, I mean, guys, that's the thing. We had a huge run, and even though I was not expecting this to be a top, we pulled back, and because I accumulated heavily at the lows, my portfolio is now well above the all-time high, or it's like right at or above the all-time high now. With today's dump, I think it's still above the all-time high. So even though we're not at a new all-time high for Bitcoin or Ethereum, my portfolio is, because I just took advantage of the dump. So my accounts, you know, are growing even as we are, you know, technically in a lower high trajectory, right? People are saying, is the dump over? Should I buy the dip? Well, like we said in the beginning of the stream, the 21-week EMA. Or actually, let me see something. Let me pull up another moving average. And this is the 128-day. Also has been historically pretty significant for Bitcoin. I just want to see, whoops, I'm back in time now. I'm gonna move over. Just want to see, it's pretty much the same. I guess it's not the same. It's pretty similar to the 21-week EMA, the 128-day, kind of in a similar spot. And this is something that if we do come down and we touch it, which is currently it's sitting right at 41, 40, 41. This is a moving average I would like to buy along. So if you're buying along the 128-day or the 21-week EMA, the blue line here, those are all good targets to have. And we just touched it. So if we do come back at any point, I would say like that's going to be your most optimal accumulation zone. right? But again, if we break below this, that's not a good sign. If we fall below 40, then we might actually have a continued correction. If we hold the 21-week EMA, that's very, very bullish. Just looking at chat, I missed a lot of chat. Legion says, I remember you were getting flack during the last bear market for being bearish. Yeah, guys, it's always how it is. It's always how it is. If you're bullish in a bull market during a dump, people will criticize you. If you're bearish in a bear market during a pump, people will criticize you. It's always how it is. Now, of course, there's no guarantees. There's no guarantees. Yeah, guys, so I think we talked about most of what I want to talk about. I just want to come on here really quick. Also, Bitcoin dominance is probably coming up today. So altcoins are probably getting hit pretty hard right now. Of course, usually how it goes is when there's uncertainty in the market, people drop the coins that they're least certain in first. Low caps, mid caps, right? Those get hurt the most, usually. And then once confidence is coming back, the top coins, right? The leading coins have the first recovery, then the mid caps, then the low caps follow last. So always keep that in mind as well. Usually, I mean, it's not always like that, and every project is different, but that's what I've observed at least. Yeah, guys, cascading liquidations was really the reason for the dump. $3 billion in longs liquidated. Someone's saying buy Matic here. Polygon's looking pretty, it's actually still looking pretty good, if you ask me, even though it looks ugly today. I mean, we have a pretty significant higher low above we bounced off the 200-day, and we're still well above the 200-day. We're actually at the 50-day EMA, and we're sitting above the previous support of what is arguably an inverse head and shoulders. I'm not sure if you would want to draw it here or here. But we have kind of like an inverse head and shoulders pattern. So as long as the bulls can reclaim this range, it would show that they're actually gaining momentum. We'll see though. It's all really up to Bitcoin. All up to Bitcoin. Depends on what your Bitcoin analysis leads you to believe. Because if Bitcoin pumped today, everything would have broken out. Obviously, that's just how it goes. But all right, guys, that was it for me today. Just wanted to give a quick stream. I got some stuff to do, but I'll have probably a video or a stream tomorrow. Guys, we are streaming on this channel a lot more recently, so definitely hit the like button, hit the bell button, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one.